Hello, hello. How you all doing, chat? How is it going? Apologies for that slight delay starting up after the music ended. I try and be better about that, but tea came first. I have a cinnamon mint pu'er to do tea today, so good cozy vibes. Selkie, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you around in chat for a while. How have you been? Ah yes, tea business before stream business. See, Wolfie, you understand. And I have nice loose leaf teas, so that I need to use up before they go bad, so this is important. That's good. Now, we're going to lay out what the plan is in a little more detail in a moment, but I will say I'm quite excited to try this because, you know, all that plot we've been doing, we're going to try not doing it this time. We're going to try just not doing that. So we're going to see how badly we can play the game, while still technically being coherent, and seeing what history we can talk about and think about from that. Ooh, you're eating chicken rice and broccoli. That sounds really good. Well, my plan for tonight had been to roast some butternut squash and sweet potato. I may need to change that. We'll experiment. Because, you know, chat, it's fall, and full disclosure, I sort of subsist off of varieties of squash during the fall. So I was thinking like a cinnamon and brown sugar roast on those, and then mix that into pasta. But we'll see. Brave fellow. Plot? How about not plot? Exactly. It is good to see you. And, you know, it makes a lot of sense. Right, I'm explicitly basing this off of Dan Floyd's wrong plays. Right, I'm explicitly just copying the wrong play strategy here. And just seeing what we learn from this. Right? Because the joys of interactive media mean there's just a lot of decisions that get made and a lot of, like, weird emergent things that come from those decisions interacting with each other. So we're just going to try and push the limits, and we're just going to see exactly what happens. So that means there's going to be a fair amount of clicking over into notes, so our music scene may be a little bit incoherent today, but, like, I'm going to be clicking into notes a fair bit here in order to be able to talk about, or take notes. You know, I should also do it this way. My friends very kindly give me notebooks. I should probably make use of them. I'm going to be doing notes the old-fashioned way. After the end of the notes from things, notes from conferences, 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 notes from conferences. A lot of conferences in here. There it is. So, you know, new page, historical wrong play, Kingdom Come Deliverance. So we're going to be taking notes in here and on screen throughout this in order to get ideas for what maybe is coming out. So we're going to see how this goes. And Athindu, welcome. Good to see you, Alex. Hope it is going well. And I hope Smite was fun. I know you were playing that earlier today. So, hopefully that went fun and was suitably chaotic and bizarre. Smite's super, like, God, as a historian, Smite is super funny because there are straight up, like, really fun, interesting rabbit holes of fake weaponry in that game. Like, there's one that they associate with Ullr that is straight out of Fire Emblem. So, you know, there's got to be some sort of proto-source that we don't have access to, but that is okay. There's a bow called the Ikaival that is just a corruption of Idalir, which is Ullr's home, not his bow. Anyway. So, uh... without further ado, why don't we roll the intro, explain exactly what we're doing, and then get stuck in. Because I now procrastinate for 10 minutes. Woohoo. So, hello everyone, welcome to Ludo History. As always, my name is Adam, and we are playing More Kingdom Come Deliverance today. In the past couple weeks, we've been kind of just following the main plot, elaborating on various historical information, and being rather egregiously and delightfully nitpicky about the game's claims to historical accuracy. Today we are going all in on mechanics. Screw the story, we'll come back to it later. So we are going to explore what mechanics are possible, what they allow, talk a bit about the history around them, but also see what historical interactions emerge, and whether that tells us anything about the assumptions of historicity, assumptions of what doesn't matter for a game to be historical. So this is explicitly modeled off of New Frame Plus's idea of the wrong play that they did of Breath of the Wild and Pokemon Legends Arceus. Dan Floyd is good people and incredibly smart and thoughtful as a games critic, and so I'm excited to see how some of his frameworks end up working in a historical setting. To that end, if you enjoy this, do make sure you follow in order to be notified for when we do other projects like this. And if you really like this, this is a great time to consider subscribing, because all gift subscriptions are actually currently 25% off to celebrate the end of September. So if you've been on the fence about subscribing, this is a great time to hop on board and consider supporting the channel to make sure that we can keep doing this with more, bigger, and better games. Without further ado, let us get in. God, I love New Frame Plus so much. Like they started streaming, and that is bad news for me, on the grounds that, well, I need to sleep, and Dan Floyd is on Pacific time, and that means that I'm going to bed literally hours later because they're so fun to watch. And Brave Fellow with the Prime sub right now. Thank you so much. Now then, we are still hungry, but we are slightly less hungry, so let's eat some food, and then let's start trying to figure out some mechanics. Yeah? Oh gosh, I didn't even remember what I'm doing over here. Sorry, chat, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. There's munching noises. So I suppose those count as like our first couple. Counterpoint, the Floyd streaming is why you're here now. That is true. That is very, very true. They are delightful and we love them dearly. They've been playing Cult of the Ooh, maybe that's what we should do. Chat, for Halloween games, because I've been trying to rack my brains about what we're going to do for October since it is Spooky Night. Do we do some Cult of the Lamb? Is that what we do? Just full Twitch integration party time casual streams? With our definitely not a cult of playing the game wrong? Maybe that's what we do. Anyway. We'll talk about that in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord yet, do consider hopping over, because that's where a lot of the conversations and a lot of the community stuff does happen. Anyway, first notes. What are our relevant mechanics in this game? So, firstly is our hunger meters, right? Since that was relevant to us right as we woke up and had horrible masticating sounds. Hunger/sleep. If you don't eat and you don't sleep, you die. What you eat doesn't matter as long as it's not terribly rotten. But if you do not if you don't eat, your Henry is going to complain at you, and eventually you'll get sick and die. That's probably bad. So we should probably not do that. How do we actually get rid of that? We either eat the food that decays extremely rapidly, forcing us to constantly be foraging, or we run around breaking into people's houses and eating their food. Very Goldilocks. Like, these ripe cabbages, we are not able to do a single thing with. Absolutely nothing can be done. Oh, that's jumping. What is my crouching? I wish to sneak. Sneak. We cannot steal the cabbages. Tragic. He who crime. We can rob corpses for their food. You are correct, we can absolutely do that. We'll talk about doing crimes later. Because we can do very many of them. Not kind of a big deal. But yeah. Right, I think if we simply just don't eat, we will eventually take damage and die. And if we simply don't sleep, we will eventually also take damage and then die. Turns out, not eating and not sleeping is, broadly speaking, bad for you. And I bet you can't sleep in a random haystack. You know, I don't know that I've seen very many haystacks. That's a good question. Where are we allowed to sleep? We're allowed to sleep in random people's beds. Sort of. If you can get inside into a bed, they will let you sleep there. But they will not guarantee that stuff will not happen. I guess this is our hay bale? We are not able to sleep in a haystack. So, right, the other place I think we've been able to sleep on the map... Nope, that's in, not out. Ooh, what is this one? Find the hills by the caves. Fantastic. We'll look at that later. Somewhere up here, right? Yeah. There. At these camps, we are sometimes able to sleep. Some of these are just like charcoal burner camps, so they're not relevant, but some of them are like hunting camps. I think right up here there was like a hunting camp for us that we went hunting and definitely didn't nearly get murdered with our local lord, Hans. Sir Hans. So yeah. As far as that goes, right, you either sleep in buildings or in dedicated campsites. The idea of just kind of going to sleep is just not possible. Exactly. Right, so that feels, I think, that feels mostly fine, except for one important detail in the ways that it is very much not fine, is that this is the kind of like the classic medieval literature thing, is that you go to sleep underneath a tree, or in a hedge, or in a haystack, and then stuff happens to you because you get discovered in this. Right? I can think of a bunch in Norse literature, obviously, that is my specialization, but I think even more generally, we can look to medieval romances as a useful thing here, where people just take naps under trees, right? You're walking in the forest, you get tired, you take a nap under a tree, you get woken up by some adventure happening to you. So if they were going for some very adventurous spirit, right, I think that's a conclusion we can draw from the lack of places to sleep. If they were going for this very adventurous understanding of what these spirits look like, and what this sort of medieval lifestyle looks like, then your narrative probably has you able to fall asleep in a lot more places. Instead, right, we are never doing that, so we are not sufficiently elite nor adventurous enough to go to sleep randomly and wake up with some cool thing happening to us. We are also not an outlaw or a brigand or otherwise unpleasant, socially outcast person who is so desperate that they must sleep in these places that are probably filled with rats, other small animals, potentially quite risky due to risk of cave-ins or pollution, might have bugs crawling through them, and generally just really making this an unpleasant experience for most people involved. Right, all of that are things that are just not part of our experience. Right, and I mean, yeah, Henry is not a social outcast. Just objectively true, he's not a social outcast. Where did I end up at Rate? That wasn't quite where I wanted to end up. That's alright, I have to get a bridge somewhere, don't I? Which I can cross right here, probably. So yeah. All of those, I think, combine to at least somewhat suggest a very specific... Serious. Pebbles. Pebbles, please. A very specific social role. Right, we can just immediately say, hey look, there's that social role. Pebbles? Pebbles. Thank you, Pebbles. So much for eating and drinking. Next up is, of course, in our mechanical realm. Actually, there is one more bit of eating, drinking, and sleeping, right? These meters that will do bet. What are you doing here? Sorry, chat. We're gonna get distracted. I was on my way to go do some combat so we could talk about combat mechanics and how bad they are. But I got distracted by running into Svadovit? Because that's who this far-faced god, the statue is. Well, we can't really do anything, it looks like. This is, like, 98% chance of being a, monument of some kind to the Slavic god Svadovit. Or Svantovit. You know, standardized languages for nerds. He is, you know, let's give credit where credit is due. He is one of very few gods from the Slavic list that is actually tested in medieval sources. We have this big problem with Slavic religion of, there's no material. Nothing survives. We are working entirely with 18th and 19th folk traditions. And there's like 3 medieval bits and some archaeology, and even that's dubious. But Svantovit is one that we actually have an attestation for. From the Gesta Danorum, a Danish source written in Latin about 1200. It says that Svein III of Denmark got attacked by the Wends at Arkona, and they forced him to pay tribute at Arkona, which is an island promontory off the northern coast of what is now Germany. At the time was like on the Polish border, and forced him to pay tribute to the god Svantovit there. Arkona has since fallen into the sea and nothing of the temple survives. Also, Svein III burnt it to the ground 10 years later, in revenge. And then it fell into the sea. Because erosion. Thank you, geology! But yeah, that's our attestation. As far as I know, there is no evidence to suggest that Svantovit was worshipped this far south. But, you know, when we're working with so few sources, you gotta elaborate. You gotta elaborate it somewhere. Statues of Svantovit are now super popular, both in Slavic religious study circles and in Slavic neo-pagan circles. And so it's interesting to see it here. Obviously, it seems to be interpreted, well, no. I was gonna say it seems to be interpreted as a way marker, as some sort of crossroads, but no it's not, because there is no cross in this crossroads. We are just on a road. So, I'm not sure what it's doing here. I'm not sure why he's hanging out. The only thing, and actually, no, there's one other thing. I'm not sure why he's just wooden. It could be that they were just wooden. I would like to see, though, paint. I would like to see this whole thing painted and or decorated up in vines. Property boundary? Potentially? I'm not particularly familiar with the supposed attributions of what Svantavid is trying to do. Most of what I know is from an X. So, you know, I have not researched it further. But I'm not mad that he exists. A herm, brave fellow, is what you're looking for. I'm not mad that it exists here, because even though this is, Christianity is completely and thoroughly, the religion, there is no Slavic pagan practice in the 15th century in Czechia. Clearly, given that there's a bunch of 18th and 19th century folktales about Svantavid, clearly some semblance of narrative traditions about him survive. Making those narrative traditions physical in the game world with this later statue type, I'm not bothered about. Now, the style, though, definitely suggests to me some, potentially trying to be modeled on a specific historical artifact. If anyone is able to look into that and locate that, that would be awesome. But that was kind of tangential. So, let's go mechanicking some more, because I want to do that. Hi. So, first things first, oh, the other thing that spooks me about that being a property boundary is that there's no human settlements nearby. Like, if this is a property boundary, where's the farmhouse? Potentially way up here? Potentially it's just way the heck up here, but I don't know. We'll come back to foraging Agalias. I'm just not... It is not the thing I happen to be doing right now. So we will come back to it, because, yeah, cooking is a big deal. HyperZombie96, is this game worth it? Ha, depends on what you're looking for. Right, I am a trained historian, and so part of my job is to be as petty as goddamn possible, because this game claimed to be the most historically accurate game ever created. Now that is an insult against me and me in particular, and so we are in fact going to be nitpicky about it. And look, it's a shrine. But as to is the game enjoyable, the combat sucks, but the combat might suck intentionally. The landscapes are beautiful, the music is pretty good, the writing is variable at best. It's often bad, but it's occasionally good. And so, it is entirely up to what you are looking for as a reasonably, as a game in an explicit historical setting. Depends on what you want from that as an RPG with those settings, as to whether you'll find this worth it. Now, Daniel Vavra is also a horrible person, the director of this game, and I disagree with him on functionally everything, so... broadly speaking, my advice is don't support people who participated in Gamergate, but I can at least understand that that is not a deal breaker for everyone. Now, anyway, more mechanics. Travel. Right, we can either walk around, or we can run around. Hooray. If we run, we have stamina. Stamina... How long does it actually take to deplete stamina? Road, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Right. Give or take 20 seconds. Give or take 20 seconds of sprinting, or a bunch of hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 hops. And then we get this heavy breathing animation, and our screen goes blue, and broadly speaking, Henry has a bad time. If we hop close to a wall, we actually do vault over the wall, which actually does feel quite good, I'll be honest. So as we run around, you know, we definitely are just kind of wandering through the world. Ten hops this time. Incredible. 1, 2, wait. Jumping feels terrible. Never mind. We can't bounce. Admittedly, bouncing would make me nauseous, so I'm kinda glad we can't bounce. But we can't bounce. Truly a masterpiece. So he has terrible stamina, have asthma, damaged kidneys, and a missing leg muscle, and you can run longer than that in armor. Yes, Henry is a wuss. For the record, Henry is, in fact, a wuss. Now, to be fair, he is less of a wuss than most people in armor in video games. I can think of, like, you know, Call of Duty, where you can sprint for about 4 seconds, and then you're like, nope, I'm done. I was like, guys, that's not how running out of energy works. But you know, as a game mechanic, it's fine. What's more annoying in the traversal is, of course, if you are hungry, your stamina goes down. If you are sleepy, your stamina goes down. If you are drunk, your stamina goes down. If you are injured, your stamina goes down. All of that, on the one hand, makes sense. Right? Let's be clear. That makes sense. Well, it doesn't feel good, but it makes sense. This game's commitment to realism reminds me a bit of, I say this as mercifully as possible, Tom Hooper's approach to Les Mis and Cats, where they tout their realism as though no other musical or film is able to do realism, and instead just embrace stylism as being a better fit. I think the sentence may have gone a smidge garbled in there, but instead of saying, oh, this is a stylistic thing, it's, oh, everyone wants realism, but no one else is able to pull it off. Right. But yes, I mean, right, we are luckily past the mid-2000s, everything is gritty realism. Even this game is past that, our color palette is broadly quite good. But yes. I am with you there of, the idea seems to be that realism is a function of, is what everyone wants in their games, and that we are simply emulating that, instead of making a bunch of stylistic decisions to emphasize what often just kinda looks bad. Now, let me through these trees. In terms of traversal, also our horse is a wizard, and also geometry is difficult. Now, I won't rag on this too much, but in terms of like navigating thick brush, the characters will often talk about this. Oh, XYZ thing is difficult and bad. And then you just kind of ram your horse into it and then it's better. You know. I think, Parisian, you're a bit late and caught only a glimpse of the statue. I'm like 98% sure it's font of it, but it's good to see you, my friend. Anyway. Speaking of being injured and therefore unable to be intelligent, guess let's go up here and try and locate the bad thing. Because somewhere right around here, there is going to be a bandit camp. And then we'll need to, like, kill a bunch of bandits. And then probably lose. Let's be honest. Like, very good chance. Very good chance of losing. Oh. There they are. Found them. Nobody saw a thing. I currently have no arrows. What options do I have for arrows? I have 1 ordinary arrow, or 2 long distance arrows, or 2 piercing arrows. So, I suppose let's talk combat? Because, you know, there's 4. There's 4 people there. This probably goes badly.
Hey, who's there? You're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, that went poorly.
Watch out! To arms! Get over here!
Come on, lock on. What? And my stamina depletes extremely quickly in combat, for the record. And he has better numbers than I do. He has extremely better numbers than I do. I dodged that.
Oh, and again. Bring it on.
What? Now, I strongly disagree with all of that. Why did I unlock from him? Once again, why did I unlock from him? Hey, guess what? So, mechanically, guess what the problem is? I am now extremely dead.
Gone weak at the knees, have you? Boy, yeah.
Yep, bigger. He walked close to me, therefore I'm hit by the bigger numbers problem. And then I'm dead. You know. I'm dead. Their weapons hitting each other sound like pieces of wood instead of metal? Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Keep in mind that during combat it is not possible to heal yourself. That makes sense. So, also, yeehaw, y'all, good to see you. Hey, guess what? I'm back at where we were. So that was our combat experiment. That's probably most of the combat we'll do today. Because obviously that went well. Cause combat has this nasty thing that you can see exactly what they're trying to do with it, and I just don't like what they're trying to do with it. Where once you start losing, you continue to lose. And so if you pick a fight with someone stronger than you, you're dead. If you pick a fight against a group of people, you're probably dead. If, broadly speaking, you do much of anything, other than beat up on random low-level bandits, you're gonna die. Because combat is not fun. Right? The idea is that in this historical period, combat is in fact not an enjoyable experience, and no one should feel good about it. On the one hand, hooray! You know, we don't like that. Right, we don't like combat. We don't think the Middle Ages should be entirely about combat. And an obsession with combat to the detriment of anything else is kind of an issue. Oh great. Watch this. Nourishment 1. So we're just gonna like wait time until this. And then the flip side of that. Death barrels in your on is not good design no matter what you're doing, as it takes away from the player. Exactly. Now, let's be clear, right? Historical design, and design with focus on history, does not have to be a particularly enjoyable thing or something that caters to the player. Now, you don't want your game to be so unpleasant that you're that you end up rage quitting the game, but no. That is okay. Huh. That's interesting. So what I was doing here is I was trying to elaborate on the hunger mechanics by simply waiting until I was starving to death. Look at what this actually does to our vision. Like, our field of view is extremely blurry now. And we are constantly breathing heavily. And generally are extremely weak. So our health is just gonna start ticking down. Yeah.
Oh God. Eat. Food.
Great, we'll just kill these sheep to eat food, right? I have no arrows. Swords. I'm about to load a save anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Can I not kill the... Can I actually not kill the sheep? We're dying for science, exactly. Am I literally... There we go. Thank you, sheep. Am I unable to harvest the... No. What? Chat, did you see that? I have concerns. Can it stop? Can it please? What? Behold him there, the risen. Chat, we've got emotes for this, don't we? Did I remove the emotes for this? I may have removed the relevant emote for this. This is a great time to mention that subscribing to the channel gives you a highly curated collection of medieval marginalia to use as emotes everywhere on Twitch. No, there it is. Now here's a question. Oh, it did eventually die. It did eventually die. Chat. Fill it with your sheep. Time for the sheep army. To further elaborate, we have a global selection of emotes from Mesoamerica to Malaysia, finely curated for their meme potential. So if you do enjoy this, as a follower, you get access to 5 emotes they can use on this channel, and when you subscribe, you get access to 14 additional emotes, both animated and unanimated, to fill everyone's chats with. So it is a great time to subscribe. And when our party sheep are doing party sheep things, we must fill the screen with party sheep. Cause, oh boy, did they most certainly party sheep. Sheep, 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 sheep. This has been your marginalia moment, brought to you by quasi-immortal sheep. The fact that the sheep doesn't die from... It takes so many hits to kill these sheep, and they just kind of fall over. What a wild thing to have happen. Oh, by the way, I'm also encumbered because I'm carrying too much muddin. And so I can't run anymore. Luckily, we have a solution to this. Carry weight in this game sucks. Carry weight in this game is extremely low, and is broadly speaking a problem. But we have a solution. We can teleport things to our horse. And when we have teleported things to our horse, that is that. Brave Othello, are there bleeding mechanics? Could it be bleeding out? There are bleeding mechanics, but I believe they only affect us. I believe we are the only ones, Oh wait, I actually don't ever need to do that. I can go over to sidekicks. And... Can we eat raw things in order to not die? We are unable to eat raw food. Ah, yes, teleportation. Extremely historical. Exactly. You understand the spirit, Othello. You have read the assignment. And the assignment is... Wow. This sure is something. Sit down. That doesn't let me do anything. That's fine. That's fine. Sausages. Well, I'm seeing how quickly we starve to death. We do not starve to death quickly at all. But notably, additionally, the quality of our things will deteriorate, generally quite rapidly. Our dried things are lasting forever. Drying things naturally does that. But all of our, like, crops and small things go bad in a matter of a couple of days. Which is fine. It's fine. Hey. Hey, you have any food?
Huh?
Hey. Hey. You know, since we're loading a save anyway, what happens if I,
Weapon in your belt before the guards see you.
make me?
Oh. Oh. Here.
Make me.
For fuck's sake.
Hey, you! Halt!
Oh. Well, fair.
Rtka.
Dead.
Ow. Ow. Turns out everyone is carrying weapons randomly.
Oh, dear. Did that?
And I am very likely to die from this.
Bugger!
Way off.
I'm very likely to die from this. I can surrender. I could surrender. Or I could not. He just summons a maze. Exactly. Right, you weren't able to see what things people are carrying much of the time? You're just, you know, that. Well then. After that deeply exciting thing, we have attempted to starve to death. And we have committed crimes. And then we have left. So, notably, let's actually talk about what crimes we can do. Let's talk about what crimes we can actually do, because there's a few different things. Notably, we have a lot of restrictions on what things we can and cannot interact with. So, our crimes are basically theft of non-livestock property. There was a button. Oh. Right. Conveniently, theft. There is trespassing. And there is murder. Now, murder is, of course, only of non-sanctioned, of people that are in some way unsanctioned by the community. Right. Or other way around. Yeah. No, unsanctioned is the right word there. Right, so when you, are... when you are in a space, right, that you're not supposed to be, you get a little warning.
Don't you start.
And then
I
if
wouldn't mind
you
if I
stick
did,
around there,
actually.
you're gonna get in trouble. And then if you're... There are certain spots where if you go into without permission, you will simply get attacked. And thrown in jail. So, you know, that's fine. You can also just take things off people's tables, at speed. And then that's that. And then you can either kill their livestock, or you can kill them. And then if you do try and do that, as Agaliah says, this is not the worst description of law enforcement by Hue and Cry, which is basically the Boy Who Cried Wolf version of law enforcement, right? A problem shows up. Someone informs everyone of the problem. And then... once that's done, everyone rushes to your help, solves the problem, and then goes about their day. It's very community-focused, and that's good, right? Like, that is a good thing. We do like things that are community-focused. That makes a lot of sense to me as the dominant, like, way of portraying law enforcement in the Middle Ages, because it's correct, right? Local bailiff, sheriff, reeve, or guard is a very ad hoc thing, and so, you know, there's a problem. It's not like the town guard is going to show up, because most places don't have one of those. It's going to be just everyone shows up with whatever they've got on hand. Pitchforks and torches, full speed ahead, beat up the problem. It's only when you need long-term solutions that things get more complicated. So yeah, you know, as far as it goes, that's good. The question is, of course, the other half of the statement is... Now, how do I actually use these? Because I thought I had a spade. I thought I had a spade. Do I not have a spade? Do I actually not have a spade? No, I got one right here. So, what am I supposed to do to actually take it up? I'm not able to equip the spade. Not able to do anything with the spade. But somewhere, I have been informed there is gold under these here somethings. Yeah, but I mean Rembrandt's like a century and a half after this, Wolfie. Where by that point things are different. They're still very ad hoc, but ad hoc in a very... Hello. The rich people will moonlight as being city guards, because that's what you do, to prove that you're wealthy. Rich people behavior is weird. Yeah, like, I'm not gonna be able to murder these pigs easily. That does bring us into another mechanic that I noticed. Reputation. If you succeed at checks, you gain reputation. If you fail at checks, you lose reputation. If you commit violence, you lose reputation. To that end, Bushits, nightingales, tricks of the trade. None of those are right. Okay, but like, let me do more. Like, there's a stash somewhere in here. Apparently. Right, somewhere on the tanner. He's set in the western corner. So what are the consequences of losing reputation? I'll be honest. I don't know. Wow, what an incredible digging animation. What an honestly incredible digging animation. Are we going to try and disguise our tracks at all? No? No? Okay. Goodbye. So, yeah. I assume, we get worse... Actually, I do know one thing. We get worse deals at haggling. And other prices are, broadly speaking, more expensive. Optional dialogue, right? People may trust us less, and be less likely to give us quests. I think there's some that will only unlock when you have a certain reputation. So, in a lot of ways, very standard RPG stuff, right? That... Okay, is this unlocked? If this is unlocked, then can I just, like, go in here and steal your food? Incredible. I can just steal your food because it's daytime. And I'm not punished for it. So, notably, what is not stealing? Walking into someone's house and eating their food. Good to know, chat. Good to know. We'll take advantage of this never, I guess? Or potentially all the time. Okay, we're looking for this number E. So, I think that is enough of, right, elaborates on that, right? You get worse price at haggling if you lose reputation. Now, notably, you gain reputation either by facing punishment for misdeeds, or just doing nice things for people. Someone was in the room while I was doing it, KJ, so I'm gonna assume it's just not stealing, in terms of eating from random pots. Right, eating strangers' foods without their permission appears to genuinely be not stealing. Which is a choice. But yeah. That elaborates on both combat and crime. I guess the other big thing with crime is that it seems heavily reliant on lockpicking. Right, you can do extremely petty theft, like steal someone's pretzels, without a lockpick. However, if you actually want to steal things that are worth anything, you're gonna need lockpicks. And you're gonna need a lot of them. And that means it's kind of a heavy commitment that you're making, right? That this is what you do. You are going to someone who has lockpicks, and you are buying lockpicks from them, and you are using that to steal stuff. And that is a series of very conscious decisions that must be undertaken, because otherwise the game does not give you the freedom to do that, because everything is locked at least a little bit. Everything is locked just a little bit. Hello, Zoe. It's good to see you. And so yeah, it's gonna be difficult to do crime. Clearly, what that means is that they want to give you the freedom to be like, yeah, medieval people could be criminals. You could be a criminal. But make the act of doing crime actually quite difficult. Which is good. Because, yeah, I agree with that choice. Of that, you really don't want your character to be a murder hobo. Right? Right? You really don't want your character to go around being a murder hobo. It's just not a good look for anyone. So, they give you the power for it, but then discourage it. And so they create a milieu with a very limited set of crimes. But a set of crimes that is, you know, robust enough that if you wanted to be a terrible person, you will get rewarded for it. You gotta get really good at combat though, because there's a lot of combat coming out of this. I am curious how that interacts with the idea that you are in the service of, you know, a person. Right, we are in the service of Sir Radzik Kobola, who is definitely not our dad, we promise. And so... Right, I do wonder how that interacts, of if we do crime, we surrender, whatever. Whether he's just like, yeah, you're on your own, you deal with this. Or if he actually helps bail us out. And exactly how those consequences work together. Because, like, there could be a lot interesting around that. But I don't have lockpicks, and I don't know where I could get lockpicks, so... Oh, we're really just dropping the pretext, huh? Yeah, of course. Come on. Is it not obvious? Oh, did I go to the correct cave on the first try?
Jesus Christ. What am I to do? Not that I can expect any useful advice from you. At least, you have no more cares.
Need someone to talk to?
Fuck!
Hey look, first try.
Don't kill me. I can explain. I won't tell anyone. I swear. I've no one to tell anyway. Just please don't kill me.
Ta-da! By the way, chat,
I'm not planning to kill you.
in main quest.
You're not one of Runt's men.
No.
Then who are you?
Hey, what did you say, don't light fires in a cave? Yep.
I come here in the name of Sir Radzik Kobola and Sir Hanish of Lightburn.
That is an animal. That's true, it was a deer.
Got no idea what you're on about.
Save your breath. If you want any chance to escape the gallows, you'd better come clean, all right?
Jesus Christ. This will never be over.
So?
Fine then.
That Neuhoff raid of yours didn't turn out quite as planned, did it?
This guy's a poacher.
Depends on whose plan you're talking
Notably, not a thing we can actually do.
Grab some loot and butter off. Well, he runs cutthroats. He's there to shed blood.
What do you mean, Runt's cutthroats?
There
Right.
are two gangs there. Mine and Runt's. We was only there to steal, but they wanted to slaughter it.
Wow, gang
When you realised
violence.
what they had in mind, you didn't have to go along with it, did you?
But we didn't know nothing, even though we were going to Neuhoff. They told us to keep watch on the courtyard. Well, they were cutting the horses' throats. Jesus, that fucking vexed me. Their horses was the most valuable thing there. When I spoke up, though, Runt gave me such a bollocking, I knew I'd better keep my mouth shut. And when they said we was going to kill anything that moved, then we knew there was no going back.
That gang of yours, what can you tell me about them?
Don't know what you want to know. There was 4 of us. Me, Timmy, Limpy Lubosh, and Pius Pava. Sometimes
Wait, they
we
just
rob
acknowledge
or
pilgrims?
hold up pilgrims.
Okay.
Never nothing
As
fancy.
we have done a little bit of main quest, we have suddenly run into more historical
Who led
things.
Pius.
Don't
He's
do
the
this.
oldest, and
Don't
he
be this
mostly
person.
Find the jobs for us, plan them and the like. He got us into that fucking mess in Neuhof too.
What about the others?
Timmy's strong as an ox, with a brain to match. You got more sense out of a fence post. than limping.
Right, holding up
I mean,
pilgrims
within the
is a
law.
bad plan.
He's
That tends to
one of
make the
those
church
friendlies.
very excited with you. And you should probably not do it. That means, of course, it happened all the goddamn time, for the record. There's so many records of pilgrims all over Europe getting attacked by bandits. But we are... there quickly came to be rules that you just don't fuck with pilgrims. And, like, to the point that bandits would start disguising themselves as pilgrims in order to be able to attack non-pilgrims. But, yeah, it is a thing that has a lot of etiquette around it and a lot of theory. In practice, yeah, you probably held up pilgrims fairly regularly.
Who got your two gangs together? You must have made contact somehow, right?
Pius. He comes to us and says he's got this prime job. We're gonna rob a farm, he says.
Uh-huh.
That was a big deal, because mostly we just did small stuff. Hold up on the road now.
Uh-huh.
Nothing.
Aguilas, can you not poach because you have permission, or because we're incapable of hunting except
We just
on a
couldn't
mission too?
refuse.
Pius knew.
So, two
I
stages to this.
suppose, but I don't know where from. We even got paid up front. Should have known from the start it was too good to be true.
Where did the rest of your gang end up?
You saw Limpy, right?
Yes, but he's no use to me now. Tell me where I can find Pius or Timmy.
I don't know nothing about Pius. He vanished in the woods, and I haven't seen him since.
Uh-huh.
Timmy, I reckon, went back to the mill where he worked.
Uh-huh.
Which mill?
The windmill a bit north of Neuhof.
Okay. So,
Did you know any of Runt's people?
how do you tell who is and isn't a pilgrim? Ravenfellow,
They didn't
we'll
talk
talk about
to
that
us
in
at
a
all.
moment,
None of
because
their
it's
faces
exciting.
was familiar either. The only thing I know is they called that huge chief of theirs Runt, and Pius warned us to watch out for him.
Uh-huh. And where are
I
they?
suppose you know where they got to after the raid.
On the way to Neuhof, Timmy told me he was at their camp with Pius. I reckon that's where they've gone now.
Did Timmy
Do we
tell you
know where
the
that
camp
is?
Somewhere in the woods. He didn't say nothing more. Thing is, Timmy's got quite an imagination.
Uh-huh.
Pius roared at him to shut it, so I
So,
reckon there must be
let's
something
not
in
pay
it.
attention to the rest of this. You know.
Tell me exactly how.
Blah 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 blah. The thing
well, we
that
stormed in
mechanically,
from the rear.
right, we are able to do
Runs
with
people,
hunting
so
is we can
slaughter
kill
them.
anything, right? We did just
Jesus,
kill sheep in our
thousands.
previous lives murder spree.
Meanwhile,
It took a while, but we did it. Admittedly, I suck at hunting because archery in this game is bad, like all combat in this game.
What did you find?
But
Sir Hanish's group.
this process
Why he was
of
what he was
harvesting
doing in the
that we're
stable.
seeing, well,
We took advantage of the
you
situation.
can't see it here because your chat you are covering the relevant details.
encourage him
So
to tell us
we may
where
have
the
to
money
wait for a moment longer in order to see this.
Ah,
But
Quicker
when
than
we are not
believe.
covering the details, there's a lot of details of practice that are implied here, probably based on consulting with a butcher, that we are not doing.
Wasn't.
Pavel is just Paul in Czech, so
Gaping at Smith.
it's a fine low.
It's
It's
cross
cross-linguistically common among the Slavic languages.
He's saying, I know you. Ron turns to us and hisses. Take him down. So me and Lubosh start running, because the lad took to his heels. At the same time, we could hear the noise of the skirmish in the courtyard. We caught up with the boy at the next farmhouse. Knock him to the ground, but he bashes me with some piece of iron so hard my head's ringing like a fucking church bell. Limpy grabs it off him and stands over him, with his bodkin in his hand, and I start praying. In the end, Limpy just gives him a kick and says, "Beat it, Ginger." And then runs.
Blah blah blah. Blah blah
What
blah.
happened after them?
We were waiting for that fool, Timmy.
Uh-huh.
Same place as we met them before, so we'd know where we were, right?
Uh-huh.
Stupid fucking idea. but Pius didn't want to leave him behind.
Uh-huh.
When Timothy finally turned up,
There was some difference of opinion.
you could say that, yeah. They started on us right away that we were traitors. They knew we'd let somebody get away, and now we were going to pay for it. They started trying to surround us, and we knew what was coming. Limpy took his bodkin and let that fucker have it and run.
Uh-huh. No.
One of the others. Timmy broke free from them, and we all took to our heels. Luckily, they were so buggered from the...
Darn.
That's all I need to know. So now
Darn.
what do I do with you?
Well,
You assisted in the investigation.
Oh shit. Runs people. We've got to get out of here.
They're too close. We'll never outrun them.
Dagger. Zoe. A bodkin is a type of dagger.
At least they don't know I'm here. The two of us can take them by surprise.
No fucking way. I'm gone.
Lucky. If you run, they'll catch up with you and kill you. And me too. Together, we stand a better chance.
Jesus Christ.
Yup.
All right. I suppose.
Hey,
you're
look. More combat. 3v2. Game saved. Well, that's something. Ow. Interesting. Oh, I'm locked onto completely the wrong person. Great. Thank you. Just gonna yoink all that, don't mind me. Don't mind me. And don't mind me. Thank you. They're bandits, we stole everything they have. I have an inability to move now, because I'm so far overwrought, but that is fine. That is completely fine. This is basically... wow. I mean, this hood is just better, so, move to horse. Move to horse. Just get rid of that, that's pointless. Dark Silesian Gambazon. Pretty good, all told, honestly. Except that it's in bad condition. So... yoink. Those are exactly the same. So this one has more durability. Well, that one goes to the horse. This one gets dropped. This one goes to the horse. That's superior, so... goodbye, goodbye. 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 That's annoying. Goodbye. Those are completely indistinguishable, so, move that to horse. Yes. What other options do we have to get? We still have so much weight attached to us for no reason. What's so heavy? Well, I guess those. That is so heavy. Good lord. I have 4 turret. Ooh, Ooh, thank you. Don't mind if I do. Some lockpicks. That's exciting. What else? What else? That's heavy. Padded black coif. Also quite heavy, but that's fine. That's fine. Mostly it's these armors that are so heavy. I'm getting close. I'm finally getting close on this. For right now, we can do that. Perfect. We have teleport things to our horse, and then fine. We have fixed our combat issues. I'm taking care of this guy. Hi, Riki.
I've got some more questions.
No, I don't.
What?
I don't have more questions.
Who is this Rudd?
I do have one
What does he
question.
look like? Do you know anything about him?
I never saw him before. But he's...
Did you notice what his sword looked like?
Uh-huh.
No, it was just a regular sword.
I think I once had the doubtful honour of meeting that bastard. He has something that... You're coming with me. Sir Radzig and Sir Hanush will want
Can
to
I
hear
sell the
what
extra
you
armor?
have to
Yes,
say.
I can. I just have to get
Suppose
into
there's any
town.
chance you might turn a blind eye.
Why should I?
I didn't do nothing all that bad, and I told you everything I know. You can tell them yourself.
No.
Nothing bad. How many people were screaming at Neuhoff? Half the stables are burnt down.
I didn't kill no one, and I didn't...
But you had a hand in it, and you wanted to rob them. You could have warned them. I don't give a tinker's curse. You were there, you didn't warn anyone, and you helped those murderers, even if it was only for a while.
You're condemning me to death.
Yeah?
You know that, don't you?
Maybe Sir Hanush will have mercy on you. You've had the devil's own luck so far.
Hooray. And this will take us to the prisons. Hooray, it gets us into town so we can sell all of that new armor that we had just gotten. We can go right over to the armorer, and we can get rid of it. Which lets us talk about the game's economy. And by economy, I mean it's a complete joke. Right, our main mechanics here, right, we're just gonna quick, you know, go over into the side quests. We'll pull that. We're gonna pull all the things we want to actually sell. Which is to say, all of these. All of these. Perfect. And now we talk to this guy.
Good day to you.
And he's fairly wealthy. So, we go sell. And we add that to our basket. And we add that to our basket. And we add that to our basket. We add this to our basket. This, and that. That, both of them. That, definitely. The ordinary tar jacket, that. That. Both of those. Yeah, we'll add that too. Why not? And that. And then we'll go check basket. And then we have our next mechanic.
Can we do something about the price?
Naturally.
Our mechanic says we can haggle everything. We are currently getting 250. I don't like that. I think we should get 280.
enough?
We're getting there. Just drop the price a bit more.
Uh-huh. He says 260. I say 265.
Finally, a reasonable sum.
Sure. We earned a profit of an extra 15 because we successfully haggled, we gained more reputation. And we are no longer over encumbered. But I would like to look at repairing... Huh. I can't repair the thing I thought I would need to repair. Huh. Alright, well, fair enough.
Can you show me how to repair armor and weapons?
Alright, guys.
Certainly.
Have a good night.
I'd like to practice the basics.
All right. But it'll cost you.
We can then also,
Isn't that quite a lot?
you know, suggest...
Are we agreed?
The training and
That's not
things.
enough.
Training and things is difficult. That's fine.
Agreed. Now listen up.
We then get a level in maintenance. Hooray. And we can do that with pretty much everything that is one of these skills in this tree. Not all of them, but many of them. Interesting. Sure. These are helpful, I guess. Right, because we have combat sets. Which is nice. Eventually we'll get other things. We have skills. So we just gained a level in this, which will eventually let us do stuff. Right, at different levels we'll get different boots and gain the ability to do more things. Right, we also, you know, as we do more hunting, we get more ability to do stuff. Shoutouts to this particular animation. Same with herbalism, you know, picking things, drinking, alchemy, all these things we can get trained in. So many options. So many options. We have different things at different towns, right? Look at our reputation in a bunch of towns. Fairly average, but Neuhof likes us. And then we get some helpful stats. Crime. Actually, these stats are very helpful. These stats are super helpful for me. Most of these don't matter, but they do tell us what's valuable. Right? They broadly speaking tell us what was considered valuable. Combat, crime, quests, dialogue, crafting, and gambling. Right? These kind of tells us actually quite a lot. So let's actually make note of these. Let's click over to our design doc and actually take a look at them, because that feels useful. So what were the ones we had? We had combat, or we had, I guess, miscellaneous. Let me zoom in here. Let's give this a title. Kingdom Come Deliverance Mechanics Groups. We had miscellaneous. We had combat. We had crime. We had dialogue. No, we had quests. We had dialogue. We had crafting, and we had gambling. These are the things we can do. So miscellaneous, right? What mechanics are going to be routed into each one? I'm going to spend some time here to, I think, help guide the back half of the stream here. But, right, which ones are included are in each one. Running around. Eating. Cooking. Mostly. Etc. Oh, Masters, thank you for the shout. For reminding us that we did not talk about pilgrims and pilgrim badges. Pilgrims by the 15th century have a very distinct outfit that we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen anyone that I would peg as a pilgrim. Pilgrim Badges. Honestly, slight NSFW content warning. You know, blame the 14th century, not me. This is honestly a pretty good summary of a pilgrim's outfit, in the form of a pilgrim's badge. So, right, they have a specific type of strapped sandal, a walking staff, a bag, and a specific type of hat. Literally, like... And then they will also have at least one, often many, badges, often depicting a saint, sometimes just being corny. So, you know, right, there's one to Thomas Becket. That's fine. These are basically tourist kitsch, right? Certainly both on the pilgrimage route of Canterbury and the pilgrimage route of Santiago de Compostela, which is the more relevant pilgrimage route for us in this game, because a branch of the Camino de Santiago runs through Prague. But yeah, you know, that one is female genitalia going on pilgrimage while holding a staff with male genitalia as its cap. Don't worry about it. It's just medieval. That's just medieval things for you. That's just medieval things. But they're fun, right? These are probably usually made out of either lead or pewter, but are kind of mass-produced for pilgrims, which is very fun. But yeah, so if someone's wearing those things, they are a pilgrim, or they're a bandit masquerading as a pilgrim. But there are rules. It is technically heretical and could call the Inquisition on you if you gain reputation for impersonating a pilgrim. So, you know, don't make a habit of that. I believe there are court records. Oh, Zoe, where are we in the game? I assume you are asking a question of geography? Not of progress? So, Sazava Klášter Sazava. Chat, if you know, you know, spam the correct marginalia. Right? There is an emote where if you know, you know. Please spam it now. So, we are here. This box, effectively... Actually, we need to zoom in even just a little bit farther. This box is the game world. We have Sasa Monastery, Sazava, in Czech. There's Rate, there's Ledechko, there's Ujits, and there's Talmberg. Prague is there. Madras knows. Prague is there. It's about 20 miles. Prague is about 20 miles away from Sazava. And so yeah, that is where we are in the game. Game's world. Extremely small geographic area. Combat. Archery. Weapon types. Unfun. Crime. Lockpicking. Robbery. Quests. Combinations of other things. Right. What is the river? That's a good question. What is the name of the river? I do not remember what the name of... Oh, it is the Sazava. Well, that makes that easy. It is the Sasau River that runs right through the center of the game's map. If we click back over into it and take a look at our map, it's this one. Hooray. Then we have dialogue. 3 basic stats. Violence, persuasion, heart. Crafting, lots of stuff, not fundamentally different. Right. It's gear, potions, some cooking, poisons, etc. And then gambling is a minigame. Yes. Madrasa, I mentioned the sandals. I did mention the sandals. They're a specific type of, like, planked platform sandals. And you can see it on the NSFW Pilgrim Badge. Right, you can clearly see that they're wearing sandals. That is part of the vibe. 100% that is part of the vibe. Perfect. So I think that's a very rough rundown of the mechanics of this game, right? Obviously there's a lot of depth within the mechanics, but that's enough to be started. Anyway, let's see what else we can do to, like, mess things up. What other, like, terribly stupid things can we do? Right, we could just walk up and steal these. That would be dumb. But we could. So, other mechanic... Ringlet?
Good health to you.
Uh-huh.
Did you find out what actually happened?
Folks say it was on account of our silver and how Sir Radzik sides with the king.
Well then.
How does life in Ratai suit you?
Not well.
I suppose it was kind of them to take us in. But then they just left us to fend for ourselves.
Long live the horny Middle Ages. Magistressa, you make an interesting comment. Cause we've been talking a fair bit about how, in previous streams, right, how we kind of don't like... What happens if we get jailed? We lose some cash, and we lose some reputation. And then we have to do nice things for people in order to earn it back. It's basically identical to Skyrim jailing, TBH. We could punch someone. We could punch a guard. No.
People, come up close and have a smell. Fresh bread. Pour yourself.
No, no, we cannot. We can bonk our head against them, but
Carrots and apples, pick them up, put a smile on your face.
do. So, anyway, horniness. Because of course a big thing in the mechanics of this game, quite problematically, is horniness. Manly odor being an example. Troubadour, you have a 50% higher reputation when you talk to women and a +1 speech bonus, so you can persuade them more easily. You can avail of bath wenches services for free. I think that demonstrates it probably the best. That almost certainly demonstrates it the best, actually. Because none of these are helpful. None of these are helpful. Yeah. And then somewhere in our buffs, you know, if we have sex with someone, we get a boost. Notably, this game is aggressively straight, and sex is entirely one-sided. The game also deeply loves the term wench, which is a term we have taken issue with. Now, is a bath wench like a bath attendant or a sex worker? Yes. And that's where we're going right now, just to observe what the options actually are. Because, yeah. you know, apparently that's a thing. Right, so they let you launder stuff because having dirty or bloody clothes is bad for your reputation. But then you can also just hire someone because they're de facto brothels. And that is a thing that the game not only allows, but encourages. That's the Tana. This is the wrong building. Wrong white tents. They are always marked by big white tents, so easy enough to locate. For better or for worse.
I've got the money to pay that debt.
And I was afraid you had a chamber pot for a head. Hand it over. That job's still going, if you're interested.
Sure, I'm on it.
What do you mean? Will you teach me to... Will you teach me to pick locks? Why is your uncle a horrible person? Teresa, why is your uncle a scoundrel? But yes, I got distracted. Let's go in search of the... Where did I miss it? Did I overshoot? I thought they were right down here. Oh, they're over here. Gotcha. I did in fact overshoot. He's a stereotype about Miller's taking way too far. Oh, that's fair. He is a Chaucer reference, isn't he? He's a scoundrel because he's a Chaucer reference. Heck. I should have realized that. That's on me. The reference is, of course, in the Miller's Tale being, the Miller being kind of a scoundrel, and broadly reflecting a stereotype about Millers, being, generally speaking, up to no good, right? But they are not just making bread. They're never just doing that. That's too honest. Instead, they're doing a bunch of other nefarious stuff in the background that can at least get accused of that. Anyway. Bathhouse proprietress.
Greetings. What do you need?
I'm interested in your services.
So, what are you interested?
Uh-huh. Bath, laundry, pay for a wench, and everything that goes with that. Haircut, shave, whatever. Kind of all in one. Right? Chad, unfortunately, I think we need to, for the sake of the mechanics playthrough...
But of course.
Fine.
We're just not... We're going to acknowledge that.
You'll be... Take care.
And we're just going to skip. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. No, thank you. No, thank you. Okay. Strictly unnecessary. But... if I know correctly... we get mechanically rewarded for that. We, in fact, get very much mechanically rewarded for that. And it's just +2 charisma. Just a flat, temporary +2 charisma. By the power of having had sex. Like everyone. It's bad. It's very bad. And so we hit medieval theologies about sex. As Magistress elaborated on, but chat may have buried too quickly, is that medieval thought said women were the ones who were perpetually horny. And you just kind of had to, like, work around that. Which is also gross, for the record. But is accompanied by, right... broad speaking, distrust. In, like, the assumption that sex is going to be, in some way... Well, let's head over here. Sorry. I am just deciding on where else we should go for mechanics. But yeah, right, it kind of just doesn't acknowledge, of course, the ways in which men were both extremely, dominantly active, especially in military conquests, in sexual assaults, and, quite visibly horny in medieval documentation, because they're like, oh no, secret, obviously that's all women, that's not us, it could never be us. But there's lots of room for female agency in that, right? And lots of room for queer agency in that, in the Middle Ages. So, right, the example was already brought up of, say, Werfel Meche, 1402. Right, I think it's either 1402 or 1403. You're just hanging out? Okay. Hooray. More fashion history. Let's pull up the link. Let's pull up the link. I believe in us. We have the power. Hooray. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. We have the assumption. Right. Men, including clerics, note the tonsure. Can you actually see my... You can't see my cursor. Notice the tonsure on the guy on the top. Having sex with women in bathhouses, along with lots of descriptions from Nuremberg. So that's actually very close. That's very close to the Czech border, which is great. And we got a lot of other things. The Jörg Breuer the Elder. So there should be more North German, I believe. But still. Right, we get a lot of descriptions here. A lot of things. That's used as social affairs. And then we start to see emergence of sex-segregated ones. Okay. Excellent. Highly recommend this to look at just for the images, it looks like. Not an expert, but they are citing a lot of late medieval sources. This is from slightly later, but by and large, right, we're looking at something fundamentally similar for bathing. Neat. Thank you for sharing this. Anyway, back into the thing here. We are talking more mechanics than other things. So where was I? Chat, I've completely lost my train of thought in terms of our mechanics. Right? Remember, chat, this is mechanics as much as it is fashion history today. Right? We are primarily looking at how mechanics intersect with history. And so, historical depictions, visual accuracy, all that stuff is great, and valued, but that is not the purpose of today's stream, and so we shall leave it for another time. Oh, right. We were talking about horniness. So, horniness, right, in this game, seems to be overwhelmingly Henry-centric. Like, I'm not even gonna say it's male-centric. It seems to be dominantly Henry-centric. Sex is +2 charisma, correct. As per the buff you will observe at the bottom of the screen. Hang on. I'm curious. Chat. What time is it? It is just afternoon. Nope. Still the wrong button. It is still just afternoon. We ate in 0 seconds. Oh yeah, female and queer agency. Right, in the game, sex is very much Henry-centric. so far at least. Right, we've seen other people be flirtatious, and theoretically, you're like, oh, theoretically NPCs are also having sex, but it's primarily Henry-centric, in that controlling when and where that happens is the prerogative of the player, and however they wish to play, and who they wish to romance, and or have affairs with, and or hire. Well, I got myself turned around. We need to go this way. Come on, let me up. Boo. Boo. I think most people hate the sounds of how Henry eats. TBH. Henry eats horribly. But yeah. We'll leave it to say that that's bad. Because I don't have a ton of super coherent thoughts, because it's... Honestly, it is not only... I guess it was hard to say it's not only... like... easy, but... basically inevitable to end up totally ignoring most of the sex mechanics of the game and still complete it, which means that it's kind of tacked on, right? Realistically, apart from a very unmeaningful buff, exactly, right? Oh, you're a bandit. Heck. No. Sir? Sir.
Is that all you... I'll let dog...
Sir, I want to grind defense off you. Sir. Sir, I want to grind defense ranks off you. What?
No surrender. We finish what we started.
You're curious, are there any gay options for Henry? Of course not. Why would there be... Like, come on. Well... Renewed your sub just in time to skip an ad. Well, thank you. Thank you for renewing the subscription. Thank you for the continued support. Move to horse. Bunch of Groshen, which is great. I don't know, what other options do we have? Oh yeah, the black kit can go away. Torches. We've got a lot of torches right now, don't we? Wow. Okay. That does a lot. Are these... Wait, are these arrows? Like... 0.2 each? Or 0.1 each? Wild. Okay. So, the extreme straight use of Henry's sex life is reflective of historical revisions and raised sex from our contemporary standpoint, but not just who was having and why, but also modern ideas of sexuality and gender. I would completely agree. To further elaborate on that, because I think there is room to further elaborate on that, the core, like, a core thing about this, is that the fact that sex is in many ways extremely ancillary to what is going on in this game, and yet is included anyway, suggested that they are like, oh yes, horniness is part of an adult, thorough representation of the Middle Ages, yes, but also that's something that has a lot of freedom to be heavily ideological. So, I mean, it's... apart from a few things, like recognizing, you know, bathhouse workers and were sex workers, through large parts of the Middle Ages. Okay, I'm not gonna figure out where these birds are. I'll be honest. I'm not going to listen to the bird song to identify which one are... I think it's mockingbirds that we're trying to get? Whatever. But yeah, right, Matrissa, obviously we don't want to accept medieval Christianity's statement that, oh yes, there are, you know, anything other than procreative sex was sodomy, and therefore was not done. Like, because that's objectively not true. Nightingales. Nightingales, yes. That's who we are looking for. Well, we looked for nightingales and we found...
Hey, get out of here! This is no place for the likes of you.
We found a poacher. Hello.
Damn.
Get out of here!
No. Make me.
Be off, I say!
We're doing the King's Justice. And by the King's Justice, I mean... my justice.
Get out, you bastard!
By the King's Justice, I mean my justice. Wow! Holy moly, this guy rolled me. This guy is gonna roll me. Okay. Well, that's probably bad. I didn't realize he was going to be so good. His numbers are better than mine. Got him. Thank you. This is fine. This is fine. How does this compare to any of my things? I feel like it's worse. Dog meat? No, hold up. Yoink, yoink. Yoink. But yeah, we just killed that guy. Congratulations. The most important thing we got from it was, of course, our sword, though we do seem to have several injuries from it. I think, much more importantly, we have quite a few injuries. So we should probably do something about that, huh? Yeah. Anyway, enough sex. Okay? That is, I think, enough about that, because there's not a lot of mechanics we can actually talk about and attach with it. It's something that just kind of exists. But is, I think, broadly speaking, more useful in terms of oh, we're actually gonna fast travel. That's just a camp. We're gonna fast travel to here if we can. Because I need to get healed up. Yeah, they had dog meat in the poacher's camp. I don't know what to do with that either. So, as we go back here, we are doing that specifically for medicine, because otherwise we'll just be injured and then have a bad time. Sleeping does help us, but, oh. It helps us less than going and getting our wounds healed for some money, because we have plenty of money. And frankly, that's more useful. So, where are we up to next? Make sure I'm facing the right direction. I am facing the right direction. Beautiful. Oh, I mean, it's perspective on dogs and food in medieval Europe. You could eat them. You shouldn't eat them. It was, not proper food. But in terms of, right, especially by the later Middle Ages, as restrictions on hunting lands get more and more and more strict, there are times where if you want meat, you eat what you get, right? Or you...
Jesus Christ.
I'd like to...
heal wounds.
Need
Oh,
healing.
I should have done...
Arranged?
Hang on.
That's too much.
As you wish.
Bath, laundry, all
But
of that.
course.
Sure.
Fine.
I'm sure you'll be extreme. May the Lord...
Are there no barber surgeons for common people like Henry to see? No. I mean, it's potential, right? I think in some places this is mechanical convenience list, dude. Right, where we heal up here because that is convenient. It's just a one-stop shop for all of our reputation things. All of our reputation things are just taken care of at this place, and that is convenient. There are apothecaries, right? There are apothecaries around here, and so you can get potions and other curatives through that. And you are right that there probably would be barber surgeons, but they're just rampant for mechanical reasons, so you're not walking door to door all the time. I think they ramp it all into just the same spot, and I can't say I disagree with that choice. So, it is a choice with consequence, however, because, yeah, the fact that all those mechanics are done in the same place, and that place is a place by, and in many ways for at least sometimes for women, right? Something led by them, in some cases owned by them, operated by them, and in some cases specifically for other women, especially as we get later. Not so much in this period. You know, it is broader because our mechanics relating to women are incredibly shallow in this game. Right, let's take a look at what those mechanics are. Right, if we click back over here, take a look at what all of our kind of groups of mechanics are. Right? For the most part, right, combat is going to be entirely focused men fighting men. In the one DLC where we get to play as Teresa, she's terrible at combat. She's not good for this. crafting, right, is also going to be largely done by alchemists, apothecaries, right? All of these skills. Reading is taught to us by male scribes. Armor smithing is done by male armor smiths. Alchemy is done by male apothecaries. Thus far, I don't think we've really seen any women doing those jobs. Women are barmaids. They are bathmaids. They are shopkeepers. And they are doing domestic labor. Are kind of the four things where we are seeing women doing stuff running around. And so, in terms of our mechanical interaction, right, 98% of our interaction with women is here. Sometimes here, right? But oftentimes, when it's here, it's also dialogue. And so clearly, right, the argument here is that it is primarily, right, that this is a world in which narrative agency is largely male, right? Narrative agency is largely male. Women, even when they do, often play supporting roles to male agency. This is super medieval, right? In terms of, is this historical? Well, yeah. Yeah, it kind of is. Medieval lit loves doing this. This is a thing medieval lit does all the goddamn time. Is that accurate to life on the ground in the Middle Ages? Less. Significantly bordering on massively less. So, I can't say I'm thrilled about that, but in terms of, is it historical, right, it does replicate historical ideologies. It doesn't really replicate the way that people, you know, push against those ideologies, and has not done anything to date to really challenge them, apart from some, like, vague notes of how... Apart from, right, some very vague notes,
Well, whose blood will be spilt?
No. Dang it. Got a good hit. Hey, look, he can also climb trees. Oh. Well, that was not what I wanted to do. You know what we were saying about, these guys largely, or of their very often being bandits that would disguise themselves as pilgrims? That guy. Oh. Well, still on the dock. You missed an entire fight. Apologies. That was my bad. You missed an entire fight. My apologies, chat. This guy was posing as a pilgrim, apparently. You wouldn't tell it from his outfit, but apparently he was. I didn't want to do that. Go away. But yeah, the game said this was a pilgrim, but he looked suspicious. And so we said no thanks, and then we bailed. By the way, is the Master Huntsman's sword better than what we've got? It is slightly better, though not nearly as durable. Particolor horse with jagged edges? Yeah. His outfit's fine. But yeah. So is this a historical fiction game, ZX? Good to see you. This is... I mean, it is historical fiction in that Henry is not a real person, but it claims to be the most historically accurate video game. Set in a specific moment, with specific people, namely, being set in 1402, in the war between Václav IV and Sigismund of Hungary. Which puts us about a decade before the Hussite Rebellion, and being a decade before the Hussite Rebellion, additionally a decade before Jan Žižka starts to come up to prominence. How's it holding up to yonder claim of the most historical accuracy? That's what we're trying to find out. That's what we're trying to find out. So we are talking mostly about mechanics today? Really? Let me in. Let me in! What do you mean you can climb every other fence? Thank you. So, we have been talking largely about narrative in some of these, with some deviations into economy, combat, etc. But we are specifically trying to take a broad view of mechanics today, and then hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll also get a branch more into religion, etc. But yes. Oh.
I wonder what Teresa's doing now. I could stop by and see her again. I enjoyed it last time.
Okay. We do see good cases of women's labor, like that.
I'm looking for a colossus by the name of Timmy. I heard he works here.
I don't know anyone like that.
I'm here in the service of Sahanish.
A ragamuffin like you? Of course you are.
Yeah.
Listen, someone wants to kill him. I have to warn him.
But I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Listen, and listen well. It'll be better for everybody if you tell me. I'll be happy to know where I can find him. You'll be happy I don't have to get
A colossus by the name of Timmy. Yes.
I'm sure Timmy will be happy to stay alive.
You don't want to hurt him?
Correct.
No, like I said, I just want to talk to him.
Yes. Come on, chat.
All
Stay
right,
with the plot.
over here. We'll talk round the back, behind the mill.
Oh, she just got a headband when she stood up. She popped a headband into existence. Congratulations. It's a nice... I mean... Alright, I don't know the specific headstyles of this, but it strikes me as at least a plausible headscarf. But it did do a magic by she was working on some embroidery, and it popped out of existence, and then her headband popped into existence. So you'd know. That's something. Alright.
Here I am. So, why all the secrecy?
What do you want from Timmy?
Can you tell me where to find him?
Promise me nothing will happen to him.
Yeah?
Why do you care so much?
He's my brother. He's not very smart, you see.
Oh, it has now
He's
disappeared
always getting
again.
led astray by his
You can see where it's supposed to be. You can see a
Now
divot
the
in her hair where it was
superhero
modeled.
characters look
But
up to him.
Who are they?
I don't know. But they look like cutthroats. And they said some strange things. But I didn't tell them anything.
uh-huh.
That's good. But sooner or later they'll find him anyway.
Oh boy.
Tell me where he is, and I'll take care of him.
Oh boy.
He's hiding at the Colburn farm, over by Mervoyed.
Who could have predicted this? Oh no.
Get the feeling you're looking for someone here.
Oh
I'm
no.
looking for someone too. Maybe we could help each
Oh
other.
no.
I don't think so.
No? Why not?
Because I don't much like the look of you. You or your cronies.
Oh
And I
no.
don't like you breathing on me. I don't like the way you stink. So fuck off.
This is gonna fail.
Bold words for a whippersnapper like you. Come on then. Let's see what you're made of.
What are you doing here? Tired of life, are you?
You're dead.
Ow.
What's the matter? Come on.
Bring it on.
Don't mind me. This is fine. Don't tell me the horse spawned behind me. Hell.
Is that the best you can do?
Thank you. Thank you. I wonder how much progress we just lost. We didn't lose too much. That's fine. This is fine. This is fine. Okay. Wonder if, by not very smart, they're trying to imply Timmy is disabled in some aspect. They're absolutely attempting to imply Timmy is disabled. So, I am not looking forward to this. I think this will probably go poorly. But that's fine. But yes. I will be curious, because that will probably be something we'll talk about next week, because I'll need to do some reading in order to be able to effectively deal with medieval attitudes towards disability, and, you know, the consequence.
So,
What do you want?
can you tell me?
Promise me.
What do you?
And now
Who are they?
I don't. But I didn't.
That's good.
So, we are
He's
going to
hiding at
need
the
to...
Colburn farm, over by.
Yep.
Get the feeling you're looking. I'm looking for.
Yep.
And who are you looking for?
A great big ox by the name of Timmy.
I'm afraid I don't know anything about him.
That's a shame. A crying shame.
Uh-huh.
I take good care of people who help me. Now, if someone were to tell me where to find Timmy,
Uh-huh.
I might offer that man a job.
Is this more accurate than Assassin's
We
Creed?
could use a small
Yes.
man like that in the
Broadly
camp.
speaking, yes, but that's neither a high bar.
I hear he's hiding in Ratai.
Oh, yeah? Where in Ratai?
Well, I don't know. You'll have to find him yourself.
Sounds like a pile of horseshit to me.
Tragic.
Stop wasting my time and spit it out.
I've no idea where he is. I reckon I'll have to try my luck elsewhere.
Don't try to tell me she told you nothing. You send me to Rattay, and then you say you know
Hey,
nothing.
actually pay attention.
Spit it out, right now.
No.
You don't know when to give up, do you?
The one who has the upper hand does as he pleases. Boy.
True. Only you don't have the upper hand.
What are you doing here? Tired of life, are you?
Watch this.
Bring it on.
We're gonna make a wide loop around town.
You'll get what's for.
We're gonna make an extremely wide loop around town. Following the outside here, we should be able. Ow. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Exciting. Well, the idea is sound. The idea is sound, but we'll try and execute better this time. Execute better means draw sword first, run second. And then, yeah. This mill is a little weird. It's a post mill on a tower mill scale. Yeah, good point. I didn't notice it had just a single post. A good catch. But, yeah, okay. We are not talking about mechanics anymore, because we are stuck in a death loop. Which is an interesting experience in a historical game, not gonna lie. So let's try and, you know, talk about something.
I don't. But
Get the feeling I'm looking for. A great big.
I'm
That's a. Now we've.
I've no idea.
That wench didn't tell you anything.
She didn't say anything.
Yeah.
The one who...
True.
You're in the wrong place. You're dead.
We're gonna run this way. We're gonna draw... Nope, that's a bow. I drew the bow instead. Ow. Come on. Okay. I am noticing that we might be under strength for a good chunk of this. Because I'm kind of curious, actually. Chat, what do you think the odds are that the game aims power difficulty on its main quest, which is what we are doing, expects you to just be constantly doing side quests? And that part of the power fantasy of the game is that you are everything to everyone, and Henry just is constantly doing favors for people.
Here I am.
What do you think the odds are? Because that would be my guess here, is that we are quite simply...
I'm looking for...
I don't think so.
No?
I don't stick my nose into other people's affairs.
That's a shit. Now if some...
You have an encampment somewhere.
Sure we do.
Where is it?
All in good time. First, prove we can trust you. The one who...
True.
You're in the wrong place.
Entertainment. Great.
Wait, where's my sword?
Is that all you got?
What the heck?
Come here, Meaninderings.
Great, and now I'm gonna get bullied. Because I'm dead. Thank you, that dodge once again did not work. And yes. Here we are, dead again. So, we're simply not going to talk to them, and if she gets captured, that's her own fault. Right, we're not going to continue this because it doesn't work. Right? I am 80% sure at this point where the power fantasy of the game kind of demands that, hey, let's be constantly doing side quests, getting experience, leveling up, doing stuff, because if we don't, we just end up in trouble. There is another option here, potentially. Where's my horse? Horse? Horse. There you are. We'll give this actually one more shot, but here's the plan. We need the horse to be within one sprint option. Alright? Because if we can get on the horse, we can outrun them. We just have to be able to get to and on the horse before we end up in trouble. So, horse, positioned right here. Okay, chat, we know where the horse is. We know how we're getting to the horse. We run around the mill, directly this way. So, let's try this again.
Here I am.
What? I don't. But
interestingly, I also suspect,
Get the thing I'm looking for.
I don't.
No?
Because I don't like the way.
Well,
What are you doing?
we run back this way. And when we run back this way, there's our horse.
yeah.
What?
Is that all you've got?
They just kill Pebbles.
What's the matter?
They shot Pebbles. They shot Pebbles. It was a good plan. It almost worked. But we have now thoroughly confirmed that that is not possible. Right? I think at this point we can safely, perfectly safely go, yeah, that's not doable. To which end... Exactly. We simply leave, and then Pebbles is fine, and she will stand there and wait for us forever. So, that was an experience. That was very much an experience. But yeah, look at how many quests there are to actually do. While we're thinking about quests, we've got one there. Right? Well, actually, we've got one there, one there. Some bonus activities there, and down here. We have a quest to complete over here. And we may have other quests in, like, Talmberg. There's a tipster. We've got an activity to do in Talmberg, some undiscovered things up here that may give us further quests, etc. So we've got a lot of other stuff that we are supposed to be doing. A lot of other stuff we're supposed to be doing. So I guess let's go over here. This is the part of RPGs that I don't like, Chad, especially Western RPGs, is that they love talking about all of these side quests and how your power fantasy, right? These mechanics all build up to a power fantasy. And so as we're just kind of wandering around, doing random stuff, right? These are supposed to be a coherent power fantasy in a historical period. The particular power fantasy the marketing claim to is that we are an everyman. And as in everyman, that comes with certain experiences. And so, right, specifically, this is a power fantasy that is not at all easy, but also we are not a beggar, right? We are not like our former neighbors from who were displaced and ruined and resort to begging now. Right? We are not them. We have more agency than that. We get to also work within, move freely from low status to high status, right? I mean, we're all fairly rural, and so one could make the argument that, hey, this is mostly a form of us talking to... How's Hans look?
Greetings. How goes it, sir? You recovered?
I am, for all the good it does. The boredom here. The only thing I have to read is the Bible, and the Hamish won't let anyone near me but the priest.
Uh-huh.
Any idea the monotonous drivel that fella comes out?
This word is but a trial. Be repentant.
Yep, so, peasants, why don't you just bootstrap it? It is a little bit that.
Listen, Henry, won't you come with me to the Rattay Markets?
How much time do you want it?
I don't know yet. At least a few days. Bathing in mud rats during the day and in the evening, fun.
Can you give the beggars alms? Not directly, actually. I have not found a way to worry about that.
Well, I won't lie to you, it hurts like the devil. But I'd rather hobble along with a cane, howling in pain, than listen to a selection of the most boring passages from the Gospels for one month.
Alright.
I shall go there right away, but wait until at least dusk to join.
Alright.
Take care.
Alright. Thank you, Hans. We learned courtliness. Oh yeah, another mechanic in this game that we did not talk to, or talk about, is the codex. Because we have that. We have that. Versifying, greetings. These codex entries are like, this is where most of the history as such happens, right? They would argue this is where a lot of the history as history is happening. Here are the write-ups, here is the information, here is what we actually do. Right? This is a lot of what we actually are doing. If you need that encyclopedic write-up that your high school history class teaches you is history, here we are. There you go. It has been done. We are doing history in this game. Safe conduct. Incredible. The Roman Catholic Church. These write-ups are actually solidly fine. We can quibble with them, but they're good enough, TBH. These are really good enough accounts of it. So I am generally unbothered. Right, we do know the fate of Skalica, which was burned to the ground on 23rd March, 1403. Racek Kobyla. Kobyla and his people. So, we got a bunch of things on jobs, we got a bunch of different characters, the different points. Racek Kobyla. He was killed in 1416 in Kutna Hora by a mob of miners decided by preachers after the burning of Jan Hus. Well, unfortunate. Unfortunate. And then a bunch of these. Bunch of tutorials. Okay. So, like, these are solid. These write-ups are solid. These write-ups end up doing, I think, a lot of the heavy lifting for it. Of they're like, oh, we put the correct information in. Therefore, as we manipulate things, that gives us excuses, right? It's all artistic vision. It's artistic vision. You wouldn't hate art, would you? But, well, that's well enough. I don't hate the encyclopedia. What I do notice is that the encyclopedia has some fairly restricted, what it talks about. Right, it's largely trying to justify the game's decisions. So, I don't know, do we have a thing on baths? Locations? No, those are towns. Society. Do we have a thing on baths? Beggars, beekeeping, baths, and barmaids. See? There we go. Hooray, they had to open their doors once a quarter to poor and students. Hooray, 13th and 14th century, the varnish associated with that. And the richer urban baths are pharmacists, massage therapists, stokers, and cleaners. So. Right. Okay, here's just a thing. Here's a write-up on it. Fine. Because of that, right. Notably, it doesn't talk about... Right, you're not talking about, for instance, social perceptions of people who excessively frequent bathhouses. It's not doing cultural histories of what the bathhouse workers felt, what documentation we have for them, or anything like that, right? These are not history as process. This is history as series of facts. And so history as series of facts means if your mechanics are, broadly speaking, based on, or broadly speaking, resonant with those facts, well, then you've done history. You've made the accurate historical game, and this is all fine. This is, in my opinion, not true. This is not how I think this works, but... I accept that mileage may differ regarding that. Right? Because I am much more interested in history as practice. Is it in here? No, it's you, Kunesh. Wait.
You survived.
Asshole.
Aren't you observant?
You still owe me. Don't think I've forgotten.
I don't owe you. I owe your father, and he's dead. So get out of here.
You can't avoid this forever, you know.
Of course I can. It's you who can't piss me off forever.
Yeah, that's fair. He has big numbers, doesn't he? He has very big numbers. I could...
Realise I could kill you without a moment's thought. Anytime I want to, you coward.
Really? Jesus Christ!
Yup.
Well landed! You.
Come on. Seriously. I perfect blocked that. Excuse me? I absolutely perfect blocked that. Come on. Oh, I got too close to him. What? I was not close to him that time. I don't even know how that happened.
Way off.
Yes, yes. Also way off. Come on. Come on, actually punch me. Actually punch me. It's easier if I guard you first. Or you just miss, that's fine. That's fine, I guess. Really, the thing I want, right, Chad is now talking about Jewish populations, which is reasonable. That is a thing that we absolutely ought to acknowledge, of that there are no Jewish populations in this game, and the assumption is, of course, that's because they all live in Prague. Right? The assumption is that, oh, it's just that everyone lives in Prague. Ow.
You're going to cry now.
And so, right, as far as it goes, right, I mean, that is the city with the attested Jewish population in this period. Don't get me wrong. That is the city with the attested Jewish population. But... that doesn't necessarily mean a ton, because, yeah.
You buggered up there.
Ow.
Now, now.
Yeah. But that is, again, world, not mechanics. I understand that I'm not exactly doing exciting mechanics, because I am engaging in just the most incredible combat you have ever seen. Where the primary damage seems to absolutely be... what the hell? The primary damage seems to absolutely be, me losing stamina to this guy. But I am beating him, I think. It's just I'm regaining stamina so slowly. I regain stamina so slowly. Wow, he just ate that to the face. Can I just pull a knife on him? Well, yes, but that's only half the point. Like, come on. He's not actually that difficult. He's just a smidge better than me. Because I am landing some hits. Like that one. And this one. Oh wait, that was not that one. I missed that one. Ow. He got me first. Whoa, camera. Camera. What, you're saying the fact that we're wearing a basket net probably does matter in this? Oh no, that sounds fake. Really, that missed? Boo. Oh, for God's sake. For God's sake. That's a hit. That's a miss. Ow. I don't remember how to kick. I do not remember how to kick someone who's not armed. Oh. Yoink. Oh well. I think that's what we call not our problem. Though, is he the quest giver? He is the quest giver.
I'm from Skalitz, good folk. You all know.
Yeah, I'm literally not able to give this guy... I'm literally not able to give this guy alms even though he's our neighbor. So, you know, that's exciting. Did he die? He seems to just be unconscious.
About that money you owe me.
Fine, I owe you. What am I supposed to do about it? You think you'll look at what I've got? But maybe I could. Maybe I could tell you where you can find some, if you forgive my debt, that is.
Alright then.
We did not kill him, he just stood up after 10 seconds of laying on the ground.
Very well then. Talk.
When we were running from Skalitz, I heard something. I don't know who said it. Either way, somebody hid a lot of coin under a dovecote.
Under a dovecote? And
that's all I know. How many dovecotes could there be in Skalitz?
Fine.
Well, that was exciting. Not committing random murder is good. Random murder is bad for most people.
Good day to you.
Uh-huh.
I noticed some of the Skalitz men look like they've been in the wars.
There's a local brawler who takes on all comers for bets. If you beat him...
Oh, love.
Oh dear.
How are you coping?
As well as we can, Henry. You can be glad Sir Radzig took you into his service. I hear you...
I've been once.
Ah, it's a shame. I'm sure you know there's a lot of hungry mouths here.
Mm-hmm.
You mean you want me to bring you game?
No, that's not what I meant. It's the townspeople here who have a taste for game. They want to live like the nobility, see? A few of the burghers have been to see me already, to ask if we'd try our luck in the... But we can't afford to take the risk of poaching. We're barely tolerated it. But I was thinking, you're in Sir Radzig's garrison, and you go hunting.
Well, I got away with brawling with Laura Capon, so I don't suppose that...
Great, Henry. I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. So many more quests. A lot of dialogues and lots of definitely breaking the law. Right? The narrative has given us a very specific social role. And the way we are actually acting just ignores all of it. Right? The mechanics of what we're doing are not actually navigating any of the social nuances of the historical period. We are truly the everyman who is able to go into every situation. If we want to be religious, great. The game might allow us to do that. More on that in the future. But Magistrissa, I get that you say that's a silly name. As per our codex, where is he? Lords of Talmberg, Divish, no. The Rona family. His name, as the actual historical figure, is Jan Ptacek, which directly translates into Hans Capon. Like, Ptacek is a capon. So, yes, it is a silly name, but that is a one case where this is not a make fun of the game, this is make fun of the Middle Ages for being just silly. It's just like that sometimes. But yeah, ultimately, Zoe, I think you sum it up well. I don't know. I wish they didn't use the German names. I wish they used the Czech names. Right? Right? They translate everything into German here. So instead of Ratzak, we have Radzig. So, like, they use the German names in English all the time. And I don't know why. It is... it's technically a nickname. But they seem to have at least a bit of overlap here in the period, don't they? Oh, we just are not gonna acknowledge that. Okay. Oh. Well, we'll still cook those anyway. I don't know that they're actually any good. I'm sure they're not any good, actually. Yeah. Goodbye. I do not wish to get her injured. Or any other such nonsense. You know, diseased. Chimkins. Yeah, we can still feed in broad daylight, but no, see, the rule is not, you can't, about stealing food in broad daylight. The rule is about, when do we, the food has to be in a pot before we steal it, and then it's fine. Oh great, rare chance of drawing blood. That seems helpful, potentially. Great. That's helpful too. Bow, sword. What do I need to in order to get these? Stab slash slash. This is slash slash stab. Uh-huh. Slash slash stab. Stab slash slash. I do need to remember that these are specific, like, specific combos that I can do. Oh well. Let me up. So yeah, I don't know. Right, obviously we've not been doing a ton of, like, super duper mechanically bizarre wrongplay, but this game honestly doesn't have a lot of chances for you to do super mechanically bizarre longplay.
Can I ask? Thank you.
Right, it really doesn't give us a chance to do a lot.
You want to really hurt your opponent. It's no use just flailing at him and hoping you get lucky. You need technique.
I'm flailing. Flail.
Is no easy matter. No miraculous strikes you can learn that will ensure you win every duel. You've got to work those techniques into your combat. Force your opponent into a position you want him in. Then attack unexpectedly.
Yeah. How do you... Ow. Yes. Okay.
I strike from overhead, then slash from the side, back swing low down. So you expect me to strike from below, but then I turn the sword, strike you with the other side. Once more, defend. Now, you try it. Strike from above, then from the right, then slash. Strikes have to follow quickly, one after the other. As soon as one lands, you start the next. You have to keep exactly to the sequence, otherwise it won't come off.
Slash.
Slash from above.
From above.
Slash from the right. Slash from below. Go.
No. No.
No, no, no. You have to strike me
Yes.
3 times. 3 times.
I hear you. 1, 2, 3.
Try to catch the rhythm. As soon as one blow lands, change the target zone and strike again. Right away. Don't stop. Try to catch the rhythm. As soon as one blow lands, change the target zone and strike again. Right away. Don't stop.
Question mark? 1, 2, 3.
That's it. Try once more.
Mm-hmm. Is there a reason you're trying to ruin my day? Like, Bernard, please.
Good. Again.
Bernard, please.
Good. All right. You can learn lots of similar techniques with every weapon.
Alright, what it actually is during the animation be spamming. That seems to be what it is. During the animation be spamming. Which is a choice, but that's fine. Yay, combat. I get the sense that, in terms of mechanics, in terms of mechanics, I strongly get the sense that that is the place that they put the most development time and energy of, is fighting. Right? Chat, do you agree with that? Of the main categories of things, namely, crafting, dialogue, traversal, and combat, I'd say that they spent the most time, by far, on combat. Right? In terms of the level of benefits, combat seems to very much be the one that makes the most sense. Right? We get these combos that are highly animated, that enable a lot. And right, you get some ideas here, some very silly ones, right, like the weapon cruncher. Weapon cruncher being, oh yes, we'll just like shatter your weapons by virtue of stuff. But right, these combos are very mechanically intense. You unlock them by playing, you get better at it, you unlock things that make sense. In contrast, what are the benefits for this? You know, you get stronger, and then you'll get some benefit, right? Some random benefit. Or we talk to a bunch of people and then we become a troubadour, like we're trained in music. Or, I don't know. We are sufficiently, we run around enough that we are sufficiently agile that we become good at dice. Right? Some of these are just like randomly attached to stuff. Some of these are just like randomly, or some of these skills are just like randomly attached to things. Oh yeah, we race things a bunch, we ride around on a horse a bunch, and then we get strong thighs. That actually makes sense. Or we hunt a bunch of rabbits, and then we can remove tusks from them. Wait. Does that make sense? Or, I don't know, we read 3 books and then we become an art connoisseur, which makes us more charismatic when we're talking to people unrelated. Right? These all feel clunky. Or, we've done enough literally random stuff that we favor brute strength to do stuff. Right? Literally doing anything, regardless of our playstyle, might give us the ability to be a brute. Or this. Right? And it doesn't matter which things we did, right? It doesn't matter which things we did with these. We could pick any of them. We can only pick one. They don't work together as well. But that's fine. That's fine, I guess. So we can build our character however we want, regardless of what we're doing. So the plan of do things to get better at them is an issue. But yes, overall, I would strongly suggest that our best... that the most effort was spent in combat. And in getting the feel of combat to be very HEMA, in a way that has good combos, good lots of stuff, but simultaneously says if you get into a fight against someone stronger than you, you will just lose, and then you will die. Please surrender before you die. And fair enough. It's just in terms of mechanical as historicity, right? Mechanics as history, this actually causes some issues. Because you know what we were saying at the beginning of it's good that if you get into a fight with someone stronger than you, you will just die. You'll just die.
I think I've mastered the basics.
I see.
I'm pretty good with a sword.
You're a bit cocky, ain't you?
I'm ready.
And so, right, we just keep learning more, and more, and more,
Stand there,
and more.
take your weapon, fight. You look like you know what you're doing. Teach you a trick.
Whoa, what the heck? That wasn't right, but that's fine. Come on, do the combo right, please.
Enough. Will do. Wasn't it all bad? All right.
That wasn't...
You're ready for the
That,
next lesson.
that literally did not let me do my combos.
Pay close attention. I'll teach you the most important.
But anyway, right, we can see the mechanics of combat are getting more and more and more and more and more.
The best is when you're able to do both at once. A master stroke is when you parry your opponent's blow and strike him at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Attack me, and I'll show you how it's done.
Uh-huh. Nice. Nice. Oh god, Wolfie. With the tier 10 tier 1 gifty subs. Thank you so much. I'm glad you are enjoying my rambling, because it is.
Lock right into your opponent's strike and match your movement to his. One elegant technique and the fight is won. Try it. I'll attack slowly. You parry.
Woohoo.
Alright.
Yeah. I understand.
Good.
At the start of a window of opportunity. Perfect. It's just, do we do it at speed? Do I not get to do it at speed? I want to do it at speed. I want to do it at speed.
I'd like to train you.
Right. What weapon would you like to try?
Short sword.
Train with...
And the
I'll
shield.
take a sheep.
Right, lad.
Let's grab these. Ow. Fair enough. Oh god. Nice spin.
Fuck it.
Yep, I got perfect blocked, which sucks. That's fine. What? It just literally didn't register that. That's fine. Please register my moves.
Not a good move.
I literally got a hit, though. Nice block. Yep. Thank you. Nice. I love that this actually is grinding up levels. That's not what I was doing, but that's fine.
This won't take long.
Yep. Thank you. Do you just truly just stand there? Thank you. And we get so many levels in strength from just existing like this. Literally just existing from this. Accomplishes so much. Yeah, they worked with one of the best HEMA masters in the Czech Republic for that. So, as far as it goes, right, the animations are all straight out of period fighting manuals, plus experimental archaeology. Alright. So, that's fine. But you can see exactly how much force they're putting into this, right? I mean, I just gained a lot of resources. I just learned a lot of resources on these. And so we learned a lot of extra benefits and all of that. But you can see the difference in the quantity of information. And so the concluding thought I have for this stream is just clearly in trying... They have simultaneously done this thing where they are saying, hey, we don't want you to do combat because you're not going to succeed at it. And said the best way to get resources, the best way to get experience, and the best way to navigate this world is through violence, right? Is through getting good at fighting that is so much grounded in the historical record that it is something you should avoid doing at all costs, and also extremely difficult to do well. And what does that tell us about the history, right? Well, they're like, oh, the history, it's accurate. Look at how much of these real combos we have, right? These real combos, based on the foremost work in experimental archaeology, reconstructive practice, and period manuals. The animations are really good. The stances are all based in things that are actually practiced. And we have all of this visual fidelity in our armor and our weapons and all of that. But also, if you fight, you will lose. So fighting is not something we want you to do, but it is something we want you to do. Which is it, game? Which one is it? And more importantly, it's something that, if I had to nuance that statement, I would say the more important thing is that it is something we want you to do, but it's something that only an exceptional few in the historical period could do with any skill. So, if you get good at it, this gives you power to manipulate the world, right? Being good at violence is how you gain power in this world and are able to better influence the decision making that you want to have happen, right? This lets you bully people into giving you things you want without having to do violence, because you are better at threatening to do violence. And you can play against that, but clearly they spent the most effort into that, so, right, in terms of the ideology of the history of their game, well, that's the most important bit, right? Chat, feel free to disagree with me here if I'm saying things that you don't think are true. This is just my interpretation, but realistically, right, when we're spending so much time in forcing us into violence in quests, having us meet random bandits, that being the best way to get money, the best way to get gear to sell, and the place with the most animations and the most care taken and the most robust system, it's like, well, okay, yeah, this is the thing they think you want to be doing. This is the core of their fantasy of what they think is fun, and in a game that they are marketing as historically accurate, presumably what they think is fun and what they think is accurate are two overlapping categories. And so, the ability to inflict violence is like, well, this is the core of what being the everyman in the Middle Ages, or at least in 15th century Bohemia, means. Right? You are the everyman if you are sufficiently socially mobile that you can learn to do violence too. And if you are in this period, you want the ability to do violence. Like, you could learn to read, but all they'll do is unscramble the words. Like, literally all they'll do is unscramble the words, so... Like, I don't know. Yeah, you'll have books. What will the books do? They'll make you better at other things. Book learning isn't a thing for its own good, right? You read manuals to get other practical skills, and then you'll apply those other practical skills to do stuff. And so you should want, well, all of that, right? You should want to do that extent of violence, and to pick up all these skills and apply them primarily to care for weapons and armor to further help do violence. You know, are you noticing the pattern? I would say the main mechanic of this game is the capacity to inflict violence. It is a clunky system, right? As a grouping of mechanics, it's overall, I'd say, still fairly clunky. But it is very much aesthetically grounded in the ability to do violence. And violence is mechanically foregrounded in, oh, you'll run into people, they'll attempt to hurt you, you'll hurt them first. And then, you know, you could instead spend your whole day out in the woods, failing to shoot at hares, and then much more successfully picking flowers that don't run away in order to make stuff, right? That's a thing in your power. You could do this. You could just leave. And so many reviews of this game said the best thing you can do in this game is just go through the woods. I know a bunch of people, several people who play this game, primarily do it to go out in the woods and go mushrooming. Is that... Hey, look. Flyagric. Not an edible mushroom, but a shroom that would be very funny. I wonder... Will they let me? I mean, Lepiota... Great, but will they let me? How are they going to react? How are they going to react? I am not allowed to eat it. I am not allowed to eat the flyagric. Yes, that is the drug mushroom. That is the one that will make you hallucinate. If you eat a whole one, you will die. If you eat a very small amount of one, you'll have an interesting night. I wanted to see if there was a shroom trip mechanic, but no, there isn't. There is one notable area that we have not at all talked about, though, in terms of mechanics or lack thereof, and that is religion. There's a reason for this. We are going to slowly, I think over the next couple sessions, abandon the main quest and make our way over towards Sazava Kloster, where we can talk more about religion and the mechanics associated with it, with having an actual single thing. Right? When we have a monastery, that we can actually talk about religion and see how do they do Christianity as a mechanic in a video game. Arachne, you can use it in alchemy, so you're able to brew it into stuff, but not just go munching on it. So if you wanted to do alchemy, which is just magic in this game, that would be how you do it. Otherwise, not so much. But anyway, we've been going for 3 hours, and that means it is actually time for us to wrap up. So, I guess, chat, do you have concluding thoughts? Because this... Right, the big mechanical question mark is, I think, religion, but otherwise, hopefully my conclusions are not too controversial from this episode of not really a wrong play, but at least a mechanical meandering. Oh yeah, you can also, like, steal eggs and eat them. You know, full Gaston. I would like to muse further, though. We're not doing it this time, but, you know, in the future I'd like to muse significantly more on how we might, explore different types of medieval living. Right, because right now, right, this is a very soldierly medieval living. We had some hunting, we had some other stuff. It's all very elite, very violence-oriented. I would be curious to think about, in future streams, of what other robust mechanical systems might show up to help navigate other types of medieval life. I think that is a job for future streams, though. And so... at least for the moment. No. No. Game, please. Game, please. At least for the moment. We shall save, and then just very briefly sleep. We do, after all, have to do a side quest next time. Very briefly. Hooray! Game has saved, and so we move on. So, big thank you to everyone who subscribed, followed, and hung out and talked during the stream. It is super appreciated, and the gifts are always very much appreciated. Extra big thank you, though, goes to our patrons, all listed right here, who make this possible. If you want to join them, for as little as $2 a month, you can help make sure that I am able to keep doing this, and keep bringing you this sort of historical exploration of video games with a lot of stuff. So, once again, thank you. We will see you later in the week for more Steel Rising, more French Revolution with robots. But until then, I hope you all have a good night. Alright?